Amr gehen, ach mir kommen gegen Yef Shalem Kedas Ramaxal. Am kommen gegen Yef Shalem Kedas Ramaxal. The Bchina Nikri in Sof Muhusi Vatzmuse, Mamish Muhusi Vatzmuse, Shlavere, according to the Ramak, that there's no other Metzias. Ein Shu Metzias Zulus Madrege Zu Nikri in Sof. Only Atzmus, Muhusi Vatzmuse. So he's Blikvol and Mushtof and side das versteht sich in der Stilleskolaterium, so that the Kula Alm is Dafkin Atzmus. So there's the Pashta Musik of Ein Sof. Every other in besides for Atzmus is Mechudish. Mechudish means that Atzim doesn't have to be. And B'meila it's Mugbal. And it can be Mahavin of Savos. The Savos is Dafka Metzias which has no Agbala. And therefore it's able to be Mahavi even a Metzias which is in a Reich and Richnis Rigashmis. Richnis Rigashmis Shavim Lefanov. So according to the Ramak, this Havos is Dafka Menazim, Kena Reis. So according to the Ramak, Dafka only Muhusi Vatzmusa is Ein Sof. So then came Kumtes according to the Ramak, Reis Havos Eilemis from Me'atzmus Mamish. We said it before, you do it, the Keich Eis Havos is Dafka Mikeich Ein Sof. Because this Havas or Ruchis Me'agashmis is Be'en Arech. You brought it earlier. So in order to have a Metzias Gashmis which has no relation, no Yachas to a Makir, is Dafka Mitzad a Madrega which has no Agbalas Klaus, which is Ein Sof. So Kumtes is Havas is Me'atzmus Mamish. Not like Mekabala Marashenim, which according to them also Keser is Ein Sof. So she tells some this Havas is Bekeich HaKeser. Mashikin according to the Ramak, Havas is Bekeich HaAtzmus. And thus Kemen Rizog. So the fact that the Ramak said there's no other, that only Atzmo, that every Pchina outside of Atzmo is Mechudish, and there's nothing which is Ein Sof Mitzad Atzmo, that this is Maskum the Ramak. There is Rishon Ramak in Chein Stuli Yeser. The Alter Rebbe says that the Eir is Ein Sof. There's a Metzias Zulas HaAtzmos, which is Ein Sof. According to the Alter Rebbe, the Ein Sof of Eir is not independent. That's because the whole Metzias of Eir is Galus HaAtzmos. There's Galus of the Ein Sof of Atzmos. It's not that the Eir from its own point of view, not that the Eir independently is Ein Sof. The fact that the Eir is Ein Sof is because the whole inyani of the Eir is Gilei Amar, like we'll see later. According to Alter Rebbe, the kasha that the Ramak asked in the Kabbalim, you don't have. The kasha that the Ramak in the Kabbalim is, it's not shaykh to say that there should be an emes in Metzias, there should be an Ein Sof Mitzadat, and the Keser should be Ein Sof Mitzadatzme. The Mitzad Metzias of Seder Shashal is Keser is Ein Sof. That's coming to Zogan. According to Alter Rebbe, Eir is Ein Sof because Kol inyani of the Eir is Gilei Amar. We'll see later. So, but the Gabi, what the Ramak says, that is Havos. Is Mitzad Atzmos, that's Chassidus in Nishmaskim. Why? If you're going to say this Havas Eilemis is Me'atzmos Mamish, it means what's the Sibah? From wann gewarn a Welt? This Havas Eilemis, wann gewarn the Metzias from Welt? Because Atzmos is Shlilas Kol HaTeir, the Eibush is not Mugul at all. So of course, if he wants a world, there'll be a world. So from wann stammt that there's Metzias Eilemis? Because there's a Shlilas Kol HaTeir, in which Oliver said, and there should be a world. So the sib of Elemis is the Atzmos Mamish. According to the Alter Rebbe, this Havas Elemis is from the Eir. The Metzias Elemis is this Havas through the Eir is Mahava B'keich Atzmos. But this Havas is not, so to speak, directly from Atzmos. The Eifanais Havas is that the Keich Ein Sof is Nizgal in Eir, and behemshach to that, the Keich Ein Sof is Nizgal in Eir, there's the Inin of his Havas. So Mashinkin, according to the Ramak, this Havas Eilemis is Me'atzmos Mamish. The only what's the sibah that there's Metzias of Welt? Because since Atzmos is mushla from any geder, from any agdoris. So Meilef, if Avadi is not mushla from the fact that there could be a world. If he said, he can't say that. He says Ef Shalem Rekedas Haramak Zal. Can't sagen that because in Kain Eich Leishanisi. Yamat Kamen sagen that through his Havas there was no shine at all. You can't say the pasuk says any violation is this. Havas Eilemis doesn't get him any shinui in the lukus. According to the Ramak, is eich leishanisi. Why? Agam shenim eslavish Eilemis. If we're dealing with if the keich aliki ham Havas Eilemis, so the keich mugbal, then versteht sich that in order for him to be mislavish and to be mahave, there would be a shinui because the keich the way it is mufshit can't affect the world. In order for the keich aliki keich mugbal to affect the world, he has to lower himself down. That's the shinui mamish. Mashiach when we speak when they get to according to the Ramak, that Havas is Mikeich HaAtzmos. The Eif and the way Mitzad HaAtzmos there's a world, there's no need for the Keich HaAtzmos to lower himself down and to be mislabish, to be behessen to the Metzias Eilemis. You don't have that Hechich Melchatchila. Since Atzmos Shilas Kol HaTeirim, if Oliver said there should be, you can't say any Gedorim Chas V'Shalom or any limits in Elikus. If he wants a world, that's Zayin Avelt. There's no relation to him. He doesn't have to have the idea, the system that in order for one to affect something else, there has to be a connection between them. That's only Mitzad Seder Shalom, Mitzad G'darim. Atzmos is a Shlilas Kol G'darim, which is not Muchrich in any in any rules, in any definition. So if he wants a rule, there's a rule. There's no slapshus. So what's the shaila of shenisi? He says, "Agam she'enim slapshus ve'elamis mikom kim saf kol saf hariv b'chinas makar le'elamis." It means lepoil. From where do the elamis come from? The elamis comes from because since atzmus is not muchach in anything, he's not mugdir in anything. Therefore, if all they were saying there should be a velt, there's a velt. So at the end of the day, the elamis stem from atzmus. Why is that a shini? We'll see. He says, but since of course the mocker of this house is directly from atzmus, but even though it's not anything of a slapshus, it means the etzem k'meishu hu ba'atzmusay. Without any tunu of tzimtzum, all they were saying there should be a velt. That he was changed and he has to limit himself and to come lifi erech elamis that you don't have because of derech hamela. Mikomkim lo yitochen leim lazalishonis. Hein misat etzemais havus that mikomkim hu beidam havas elamis. That's number one. This pratim he's going to touch up later. Just as that's himself. According to the Alter Rebbe, the Metzias Elamis is Nevea Mitzad Ha'er. According to the Ramak, the Metzias Elamis, the fact that there's a Metzias, which is outside of a Lakus, there's a Metzias, that's because the Eibush created that. That's Nevea Mitzad Ha'er Atzmus directly. That's Inin of Shino, which we'll see the Taich later. Kom Geberim Havas Elamis. V'hei Mitzad Ha'ratzon L'Shavas. Maybe this prat is kedai to see this Lashon here. This here he just says because this lashon itself, the mashma says that the reason why it's shanisi is the etzem fact lepayil. There's a tool that before this havos there was no mitzias outside of elikus. Mashein came mitzad this havos. There's a mitzias. According to Alter Rebbe's havos is that so this havos the way it is inside the atzmos, so it's bechlam not a mitzias. There's no mitzad atzmos lechatchila. There's no mitzias of elamis. The whole in of elamis is that that's his dir. It's a different inyan. The fact that there's a mitzias, that's all mitzad ha'er. According to the Ramak, the fact that there's a mitzias of elamis, etzem ha'isavas, the very fact there's a being, which according to the Ramak, the mitzias of elamis is not a keli ta'atzmos. So before this havos, the only emes was there's no gdarim at all. La'achrei ha'isavas, there's a mitzias of velt, and that mitzias of velt in the gdarim of seder shlalashos are not kelim ta'atzmos, according to the Ramak. Before the Alter Rebbe was megaled in of er, so where Kaviyachal is present, or where is Meir, the inyan of Shulas Kol HaTeirim, that meet the same stuff of Atzmos, only in that's Mitzad Atzmos, he's not Mugbal at all. But in definition, in Gedarim, in the world of Metzias, in a world of Geder, in a world of system, the system is not a Keli to the Metzias Atzmos. So the pile of the system is a Metzias, another Metzias. That's the inyan of Shinei. That's the Mashmos HaLashon here. He says, "Heimis at etzem ha'isavas ari mikomkim hu beidu mahavas elamis."
How's that Shino?
The part there's a mitzias.
How does that mean that Atzmos?
What I'm saying is the pearl there's a mode of being that's not a keli to him. I'm not saying Atzmos changed. We'll see later how there's a change in Atzmos, so to speak. I'm just saying the lashon the way he says it here. He says even though he's beidu with erech hamela mikomkim mitzad etzem ha'isavas. What does he say etzem ha'isavas? Later he's going to touch up that there's a certain change, so to speak, in Atzmos. But I'm saying here, put the lashon here, Lepayel, one thing you see from the Ramak, Lepayel, according to the Ramak, Mitzias is not a keli to the built Mitzias. According to the Alter Rebbe, so er is Megala the Mer. According to the Ramak, Mitzias ha'elamis could only contain inyan which is shaychus the Mitzias.
How does that mean change?
No, so Lepayel till now, before this Havas, there was nothing besides for Atzmos. And mitzad this Havas, there's a Mitzias of Gvul, which is not a keli to Atzmos, which is, so to speak, other than Atzmos. From Atzmos' point of view, there's nothing outside of him, because he's Shlas Kol HaTeirim. But that's mitzad, from the point of view of no Gdarim, so the Gvul is not a Stiritin. But from the point of view of Gvul is not a Kelitin. So there's a certain Mitzias, the Mitzias Elamis. The Nivra mitzad his own Tchunis, you can't derive from the Nivra that the Nivra should be a Keli Tasos from his own point of view. If the Eibush is Bli Gvul, he could be anywhere. That's a different story. Because he's not, even though this Nivra is not a Keli for him, and it's at the Gedarim of Gvul, there's no way for Gvul to be a Keli to the Bli Gvul, but Atzm Shlos Kol HaTeirim, he could be everywhere. From his point of view, he could be anywhere. But the Nivra Lepoil is a certain mode of being that's not a Keli to Atzmos. So there's a mitzias which is not behesem al atzmus. There's a nischadish gevarna mitzias. Shaking mitzad so the havas mitzad atzmos, the whole mitzias elam is since according to the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe says so the nivra saf kol saf is a keli to atzmos, and he's going. And the kavanah is that the tachtim should be a keli that the nivra is able to is the truth of the nivra is to express atzmos. Within the gdarim of the nivra, he's a keli to atzmos. That's the idea of it. That saf kol saf the amitas hamitzias is that it's to be megalda the mar. So according to that, from his havas, the way it is inside the atzmos, the nivra is there's no other being outside of atzmos, because the nivra saf kol saf, the kavana is that it should be a dir and be a keli to atzmos. So the same way there's hu levadi hu kedim, there's hu levadi hu la'achash nivra elam. There's no inyan of mitzias. Yeah, this is dakas the kinyanim. I'm just saying just a little touch in the verter. If you look a little later, a few lines further. Should we go, if you say that advarim, we'll go back, we'll see, there's later attached, we'll go back to this line. So that's mitzad ha'etzem ha'ishavus. V'hein mitzad ha'ratzin ha'ishavus. L'poil since eilumis. He says, Shadikedim shenesavu loy hayu eilumis. Means, mitzias, what are we saying? Gvul, from its point of view, is not a keli ta'atzmus. So lifnei Sabbath was only atzmos, which is neise hakel, mushlam hakel, but all from the point of view of atzmos, from the point of view of no rules, no gdarim, so can all zayin. But there's no mitzias of gvul. From the point of view of a system is not a keli to an akudus which is beyond the system. Mitzias, from its point of view, from its own tchunis, is not a keli to the built mitzias. So before this, havas loy hayu elamis. And vi verta mitzias, another mitzias, not only him. So that's all the bertzeni lahavis, and it calls those shinit. There's in of ratzin lahavis. That's a shinit. The inish shech lemik chazal shalom ba'atzmus haber. That's in of ratzin. And then he says, "Begam if that's this is so to speak a chreichim mitzad." Pasuk says in a violation nisi, and here there's a lechoras in of shinit. He mitzad the etzem esavas, and he mitzad the ratzin lahavis. Then he says, Rayas from Chazal, that not only the etzem is Ein Sof.
What are we saying? We said the Ratzin Lahavis. How does that, what's the answer to saying that?
I'm saying the etzem kamei is mufshit from a shaykhs to mitzias. The Peldu is a chiddush. His havas is a certain, there's a chiddush gvarna mitzias, which before the havas there was no mitzias. So the etzem fact that severta mitzias is a chiddush, is a shine. Till now there was no mitzias. And then there's also a shine in him. Vi gevarn der mitzias, there had to be all the bertzeni lahavis. The etzem kamei without is not, there's no makkah for a mitzias.
That's not.
Ermein Amar, so an atzma is not tnu of ratzin. The Nisavak Yisroch Elisa did it, but the is not a gather of ratzin. Ratzin, they're saying shini is if you say the person be'atzmusay is mufshet to mashaychas tazulas. Ratzin means it becomes a makkah tazulas. He wants something else. That's the initial state of being a makkah for tazulas, and that's already not the etzem kamei shehu. Masha'inkin, when you say when Masha'inkin Nisavak Yisroch Elisa did it, the Nisavak is not that there should be a mitzias outside of him. That he should be that he should have a dira, is that the whole mitzias of the elamis is to be a dira to atzmos, to be a keli to him. Then the mitzias elamis is not something outside of the tnua, that there's nothing else besides for him. Without Rebbe said that the makir of the elamis weight as an atzmos is that since avak that's not the nekud of ratzin in the avak is rachlis the avak is rachlis the is that what's all the bertzeni there should be a dira latzmos. So the same tnua of atzmos that there's nothing that hu levadi hu, that there's only the shidduch kol ateirim, that same tnua is also that's the nekuda velt to say that hu levadi hu.
The Oliver part still.
It's not ratzin. When we're saying the word of ratzin, it's not a shaila of if you wanted or didn't want. The nekuda is if there's it's not the same mode as the etzem kamei shu. The mode of the etzem kamei shu is there's only him. The fact that there should be another mitzias, that's already that's not the etzem kamei shu. The etzem kamei shu about says is him, and there's no nisin asmanga for anything else outside of him. Here, there's a ratzin for a mitzias, so that's already is a change of a tnua. There's a makkah for a mitzias. Is not another tnua outside of the etzem. That's that this truth of the etzem should be everywhere, should be begali. It's not another inyan. The etzem is hu levadi hu ve'in zolasi. There's no gdarim and there's only him. And the fact that it's only him, that should be in reality also. The world should also say that there's only him. And all levels of being, it should be only him. So there's no tnua of leaving the mode of the etzem. It's the same shilas kol atayrim of the etzim, the same mufshit from Mitzias of the etzim, the same not giving anything besides for him. That's the Tnu of Welt also. To be a dira that there's nothing else besides for him. Mashiach, according to the Ramak, the Mitzias Ilmas is not a keli to the Indian of Atzmos, Kameshu. So there's a Mitzias lapel, there's an Havas of Mitzias that from the point of view of the Mitzias is not a keli to the Etzim Kameshu. For that, there has to be a Tnu of Ratzin that there should be a Mitzias. So that's the Chodashine. There's a certain change in the mode. The market is not the way he is Batzmosei, that there's only him. There's already a Nisinas Makin for an Asiba for a Mitzias. That's the Tnu of Ratzin. Look, there's I'm saying as if there's Pashta Taish, but if you look in Sefer Erechim, it goes to the whole Kasha and Teretz, and he's more Meirich. There's a Miluim in Erin Saf Aleph 518. Kendart Nakuktan. That's where he goes through these Murva Pratis. Oh, so because of Lemer can Chas Shalom Atzmos Haber. Can you sagen Atzmos Haber? There's a certain change of mode in Atzmos. That's can you sagen. Means there's two Tnuas Kaviyalcha in Atzmos. There's the way Atzmos is, Batzmos, that there's no Nisinas Maga for an Indian which is not him. And then there's the way Atzmos is that is Na'efin that is a Maga for a Metzias which is outside of him. That's can you sagen. But according to the Ramak, the Etzim Kameshu who Mitzad Atzmos is there's only him. But Mash'egen Welt is there's a Tnu which is not only him. The Welt is a Metzias. And from the point of, even though from his point of view, the Metzias is not outside of him, but from the point of view of the Metzias, it's not him. And for that, you need Ratzin. That means you need that the Etzim is not Kameshu Hu Batzmoseh. That's the Pshat you mean Ratzin. According to the Alter Rebbe, the Metzias reflects the same truth as the Etzim Kameshu. The Metzias Ha'elamis reflects the same truth as Atzmos Mamish. So there's never a Tnua of a certain. We're not changing any mode. We're in the same mode of Atzmos that there's only him, without any Hagdaris, only him, and that's the Indian of Elamis, to express that there's only him, to reflect this emes that there's only him. So there's no change of mode. There's no Tnua of Ratzim. But the Nisav is not. That's this emes that there's only him. That should be Begali, and that should be the Mitzias L'Payel.
But it wasn't like that before.
What do you mean it wasn't like that? It wasn't like that before. Okay, that's it's not. What he's saying, Ratzin, is not a shaila in Zman. The shaila is this Havas a different Tnua, or it's the same Nukud as Atzmos? That's the shaila. According to the Mak, it's a different Tnua because Mitzad this Havas is a Makkah for Mitzias. Mashiach Fidal Terebe, this Havas reflects the same emes as Atzmos. It's more from them saying this Havas. This Havas in Dira B'Tachtene means that the Tachten B'Atzmos B'Mitzius is a Dira to Atzmos. In Zay Mitzius there is Atzmos. The same emes of Atzmos, that's the Mitzius. That's the Mitzius Abriya. It's not two separate in Yon. Then now he brings Merayis from Chazal to the Sinyan. That there's a Metzias outside of Atzmos, which is Ein Sof. I don't say it's outside of Atzmos. That in Metzias there's Ein Sof. Not only like the Ramak. That only the Bilti Metzias, the Shlilas Kol HaTorah is Ein Sof. There's a Dargin Metzias which is Ein Sof. Where the fact that there's a Metzias outside of Atzmos which is Ein Sof, thus he brings Chaychachas from Chazal. But the fact that the Yisod of this Ein Sof, the Mekobal the Yisod of this Ein Sof is because that's the truth of the category of Metzias. And the Alter Rebbe said because the Metzias reflects the Etzim. Through Dveikas, the air reflects the Mar. So the Ein Sof of the Metzias is because Kol Inyani is that the Mar is Mizgal. I will see later. But he brings a Rayas from Chazal. The Gam says, E F Shaleimar. Shaloi Yesh Metzias Anikre Ein Sof, Zulas Metzias Atzmos. Let's come in Zog. That in Mikoma came over Pirkat Rebbe Lezer, Atchel in Yivra Elam, Hayuhu, Shmelevad. So steht that before this Havos, before there was a marker for Metzias, before this Havos of this Elam, and this Havos of a different Elam. The whole Seder Shtashlos is all the Mitzadin of his Havos Elam. So before this Havos, Vasi Yamot Geven, steht that there was only him. There was him and his name. That means that there is a Pchina which is Kodum, which is Kadman. Steht that Avaya is the Eibish's name. that means that it's his name, that's not him himself. Hashem Havayu rak b'china shmei, but who atzmi l'malam b'china shmei. It says, Ani Havayu hu shmi, is Ani is higher than Havayu is only my name, but Ani is higher than Havayu. So it is, but there's also shmei. Zeh shekosu b'chol yim avarcheka v'hal l'shimcha. What's the pshat b'chol yim avarcheka and then hal l'shimcha. V'omar l'chotev l'hedis l'shimcha no l'zam. L'zam the tzvei inyan. So that's a raya that there's a darga which is there's a mitzias zulas ha'atzmus. Is a darga mitzias which is Ein Sof and Kadin Kadmuse, which we'll see later the pratim. It's Achalen Nivra Elam, there was We'll see later. Then he brings Al Derech another raya, not from he's reading from Chazal, Priket Rebbe Lezer. Now he brings from Echrachis Mitzat Kisvi Arizal. Beginning from Shkosa Beitz Chaim in Natzimtzum, steht in Etz Chaim, and then order for the Beis Havas Elam is in Natzimtzum. Shai Beir Ein Sof. The Ramak is La Yodam in Natzimtzum. Kula Amad there's in Natzimtzum. But not a tzimtzum derech siluk. But state in Eitz Chaim that there was a tzimtzum shoye beir in sof. And he says lo yitachin klal calls the lemer ba'atzmos namish because of the reder asal paschal yo. The musig of tzimtzum is not shaykh to say in atzmos. The musig of helim that sided the tzedek for tzimtzum. That the mitzvah that atzmos should be a stira to the mitzvah elemis and you have to be the mitzvah kshahoye eir in sof ma'ala makam achol lohoye makam midas elemis is dafki mitzvah eir. Because eir is a contradiction. Eir is a certain mitzias, and if in the mitzias is Meir, the Eivish is bleak vol, so there's no space that a mitzias there should be a veld. Mashiach Mitzad Atzmos, the fact that the Eivish is Ein Sof, and the fact that he's the Hulavadi Hu is not a stira. There should be a world, because Atzmos is beyond the whole musik. There should be beyond the whole idea of mitzias. This the Alter Rebbe brings into there that Adrab Amar Lu Bezgalus. There's no tzimtzum in Atzmos. You know, stand out the famous letters that Bishop Damascus wrote from before the Nesias. He was learning with another Yid, and they came up to the Maskana that there's no big difference between the shit of the Gra, the shit of the Alter Rebbe, and the Get the Tzimtzum. But the Rebbe wrote him that I could compare with the Alter Rebbe's shit when they get the Tzimtzum and the other shittas. So the Rebbe goes to a project that there's 4 shittas when they get in that Tzimtzum. There's 2 pratim, whether tzimtzum is kipshute or tzimtzum is lav kipshute. If tzimtzum is kipshute, that the mitzias halakus removed itself from a certain mode, from a certain level of a certain realm of being. That's one shit. The tzimtzum kipshute means that there's in a certain realm of being, the Eibusher is misalik halakus from there. That's one shit. Or tzimtzum lav kipshute means that it's not that the Eid is misulik from there. He's there, but he's not Meir Begali. It's Behelim. That's Tzimtzum Lav Kipshute. That's Ein Zach. And at Zweite Shadi Faran, where was the Tzimtzum? Was the Tzimtzum in Etzem, or the Tzimtzum was only in Eir? And that there's 4 shittas in Kabbalah. Some hold Tzimtzum Kipshute, but it was only in Eir. Some hold Tzimtzum Lav Kipshute, but it's also in Atzmos. There's different. These 2 pratim and them is mecholik 4 shittas. As the Alter Rebbe shitta was that Tzimtzum Lav Kipshute. Whenever you speak Tzimtzum, it's not that there's a siluk, that the Eir is not, that the Eir Eliki is not present in Elam Hazard. Is not present in Mitzias Elamis. It's just that it's present fully, but it's not Meir. It's not Nirgash. It's Behelim. That's number 1. Since Lav Kipshute. Number 2 is that it's even this Helim is only in Eir, not in Atzmos. Atzmos is the Alter Rebbe says Amoir Hu Beis Galus. The Moir is Begili. Atzmos is Begili. Tinekes v'Noshim. The fact that there's an Eibush there, and that Eibush that when they say Baruch Hashem, they don't mean a bleak vol or this darga, and a darga. They say there's the Eibush himself that the Noshim Shutim. That's because Amar Hu Beis Galus. That musik of Elokus that they're speaking about is Atzmos. There's no taich. There's no taich of bleak vol. There's no taich. They're not looking for a taich to begin with. So there's a certain Nekoda which is beyond everything and in charge of everything, but without a taich of what type of mile he has. That whole category doesn't exist. It's just that's the Mar Hu Beis Galus, the Etzem Kameshu. It's not a taich. There's no taich in the words when they say that there's that there's a Baruch Hashem. Yeah, because so the Alter Rebbe said there was that Legabe Atzmos there's no Inin of Helim, and the Rebbe brings there even more that according to the Alter Rebbe, not only in Atzmos there's no Tzimtzum Derech Helim, but even in Eir, in the higher Madregas of Eir, there's no Tzimtzum either. The whole siluk, the whole tzimtzum, which we're not margish the air, that's only in lower dargis in air. In the higher dargis in air, there's no tzimtzum derechelim either. There's dargis in air in self, which mitzad the point of view of the air, it's begilui. It's begili in Elamis. We don't sense it because for it to be begili, it doesn't need us to be margish. But there was no tnu of his almas. The air that tzimtzum at nar peg, there's an air which the gabi that air, in order for that air to be begilui, the zulas has to be margish there. The mekabel has to be aware of the fact that there's an air. So the gabi an air, which the musig of which is mugder, that the gather of gilui is that the mekabel is margish that gilui. The gabi that air, there was a tzimtzum that were not margish there. But the gabi higher dargis in air, which is also higher dargis in gilui, but it's begili even though the nivra is not margish that air. Because the definition of Gilui, Legabi that darga, is not dependent on the fact that the Zulas, that the Makabel, is aware of the fact that he's there. But from his point of view, it's Begilui. Yeah, there's different pratim, but...
So you're saying the Ur is Biskalas?
Yeah, B'yidiyase. B'yidiyase, the air is Begilui.
What does that mean? What do you mean B'yidiyase?
That's unfortunate. He brings it in there's more of a riches on it in other places, but it's I'm just...
From Hashem's perspective, you're saying?
From the there's a mitzad the air that verstehen wir das meint, but I'm just saying what the lashon says that b'yedias air, the air is begilui. We're not aware of the fact that the air is begilui, but the air from its point of view is begilui, even though we don't know that he's begilui. But from his point of view, he's meir begali in us. B'yedias we know about him, but we don't know that we know about him. But yeah, that verstehen wir das meint.
Just say we know about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's begilui. B'yidiyase, he permeates us. He permeates us on an open way. He's not here in a. Okay, we're not in this topic. I'm just saying that's a minion that here he brings that the kisvar is all the months of the musik of tzimtzum. Tzimtzum is only shaykh by er, which in Yan is gilui, so it's shaykh to say that he's not begilui, he's behelim. Atzmas not shaykh to say begilui, is not behelim. Atzmas, the fact that he exists is without all these tension of helim and gilui. The same way the atzmas is shlilas kol atayrin, so it's not only that the etzim is not mugder or anything. The fact that he's present somewhere. So a nivra, a dargosh has a certain gather. See, Inyani is bligvol. So the same way this air has a certain category, has a certain title, he has a certain function, his function is bligvol. And now, in what way is he present? Is he openly present? Are you margishim? Are you not margishim? That's a darga which has a certain definition, a certain function of what it is. So there is, in what way is he present? In what way is he felt? In this place. But Asmus is a shlilas kol atayrim. So the same way in the Metzias Etzem has no taich. It's built in Metzias. So al derech zeh, his presence has no taich. His being present is not because he relates. Doesn't have to relate, or he doesn't have to be in a way that he doesn't relate. He's present because he wants to be, without any taich. The fact that he's present here doesn't have to be in a certain mode, not helim and agili. So it's not shaykh to say that he's here behelim. Means that he's here in a certain mode. He's here in a bahaltan way, or he's here in a revealed way. He's here the way he wants to be. The same way his very being is not mugder in anything. It's the only there's only him. Al derech zeh, there's only him, and if he wants to be here, he's here. You say, with what is he here? Is he here because we feel him, we don't feel him? His being is not dependent on any other factor besides for the fact that he chose to be here. If he chose to be here, he's here. The ideas of being here in an open way or a nelamdik way, that's all in Yadam Mitzias. And when the fact that something's here has a certain touch. So in what way is it present? But in Atzmos, there's all these Agdarim don't exist. Yeah, that's not verstehen, but I'm saying the Nekudah, what he brings here is he just brings the Hechrich. He's not going into the Prati Advarim. That in its Chaim state that there was a Tzimtzum there. That means that the Eir is present in the Eifen of Helen. And the Alter Rebbe says that Azam Ashertini is not Shaykh in Atzmos. Atzmos is not Shaykh to say that he's present in a certain mode. He's present because he chose to be present. And he doesn't have to be, his presence doesn't have to have any other factor outside of the fact that he's here. Without any taich. Yeah, all these Inadim need a beer prati. I'm just saying So Lei Yitachin calls Leimer Ba'atzmas Mamish. So the fact that the Arizal hat gesagt that Tzimtzum in Erin Sof. So what did he mean Erin Sof? He doesn't mean Atzmus. He means Er. And it says that the Er was Ein Sof. The Lashon Yitzchayim is that since the Er Ein Sof is Amala Makam Acholu. So the Er was Bligvol. So Loi Haya Makam Amidas Eilemus. So what was Bligvol? And Bemelat Mesale given this Er which is Ein Sof. So what are we dealing with? That means that the earth is Ein Sof, not Atzmos, because Atzmos there was no siluk. Lass mich get to them. Yeah, Chem Ashkos Besfarim, Shabri Yeshmain. Lashon versteht in Sfarim is that the Bri is Yeshmain. That's the Lashon it's brought in Chazal. That the Bri is Yeshmain. So the Shaila is you do Akushya. What do you mean the Bri is Yeshmain? Halim Chak Elksiv. The Eichumain. What's the pshat that the world was created from nothing? B'choret the Eibishad of Chashatin. Allah Tirutzu. Shafilu Mokar Achai Shel Kol Ha'elim is Nikra Ayin Kolach Shav L'Gabi Mamish L'Gam Husi B'Atzmuse. That the Mokar HaMahavas Ha'elim is that has no erech L'Gabi Atzmus, has no chshivas L'Gabi Atzmus. The Gabi Atzmus, the whole Mitzvah Ha'elim is Kolach Shiv, Ka'ayin Mamish. So the Shaila is B'Zash Kasar Chacham Ayin Timotzi Pirish Chachmi Lo Reishus Atzilus. Shezavusa means B'Chinas Yesh Ma'ayin Leibe Derech Shash Ilaval. Even the first dargin Seder Shlashus, which is Chachmi, the highest dargin Reishus Atzilus, the highest dargin Seder Shlashus. So it's not an Eifin that, even though it's the highest dargin Seder Shlashus, the Eifin as Havas is not an Eifin of Ilava Ol from Keser, from the Makir, but it's an Eifin of Yesh Ma'ayin. In the Mekom Gam Makir Zeh HaMahave HaChachme B'Chinas Yesh Ma'ayin. Even the Makir HaMahave is B'Chinas HaChachme, which is that means that it's Be'en Arech higher than Chachme. But L'Gabi Ha'etzem, it's Nikra Ayin V'Efes Mamish Gam Husav Atzmusit T'Gulachshiv. So according to the Ramak, that the Makra Mahavas Elimus is Atzmos, we can't say this teretz. If this Havas is idea so you say that the L'Gabi Ha'etzem is Kolachshiv. That is going to be Masber later. L'Gabi the Etzem, the is Ka'ayin V'Efes Mamish. So the is Ayin L'Gabi the Makr, L'Gabi the Etzem. That only you can say according to the Ramak. According to the that you can only say according to Chesiz. According to the Ramak, that the Makra Mahavas is Atzmos. So what's the Pshat Yesh Ma'ayin? The Gedav Zagen Yesh from Atzmos Habeira. Yesh from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does it mean Yesh Ma'ayin? The Yesh didn't come from Ayin. The Yesh came from Atzmos. Oh. Now, why is that the Makar Mahavas is Kolachshiv? This is V'hainu Mishum Shemakir Zeu B'Chinasei V'Kalam. When we speak about the Mashal you say that the Havas is Yesh Ma'ayin. So the Makar Mahavas Ha'elim is you say that what does it mean? What do you want to regard to the word of Yesh Ma'ayin? That the Makar Mahavas Ha'elim is Shalei Be'erech higher than the Mitzias Ha'elim is. So that's why L'Gabi the Mitzias Ha'elim is the Makar Mahavas is considered Ayin L'Gabi the Yesh. The Nivra is Ve'ein Arech to the Beira. There's no way for the Nivra to be Makir and be Margish the Beira. Because the Ayin is Shalei Be'erech to the Yesh. So that means that the Yachas of the Makir to the Nivra is a Yachas of Seva Kalam. He's removed from the Nivra. That's called the Seviv. To say that he's removed is not shaykh to say in Atzmos. He's in the Begeder Alman Klal. His Lagabi Atzmos, the whole Gedra Ilmus doesn't exist. The whole Suga Metzias of Ilmus is Kolach existiert nicht. There's only him. In the Darga, which is in the Darga in which is the Makar Mahavas Ilmus, so there's a Metzias. He's a Makar from Metzias. He's Shalei Be'erech higher than this Metzias. He's Shalei Be'erech removed from this Metzias. But Lepail, he's a Makar from Metzias. When you say Seviv Kalam, you're saying there's a Metzias. If Legabi Seviv, you say the Mashal in Seichel, you can't say there's a square Svara. Or a Svara that's green. It doesn't exist there. There's no green in the Svara. So you can't say that the Svara is Seviv. It doesn't exist to begin with. When you say that the Lashon Seviv Kalam means that there's a Metzias of Elamis, what's the relation between the Makar and the Nivra that he's Shalei Be'erech removed from this Metzias? And the Yesh has no similarity to the Ayin. Shalei Be'erech removed. But he's removed. It's shaykh to say that he's removed from this Metzias. He's Shalei Be'erech higher than this Metzias. That you could only say if they're within the same category of being. So they're both a Metzias. This is Ein Sof and this is Gvul. So if they're both a Metzias, say the Ein Sof is Shalei Be'erech higher than the Gvul. But Asmos, which is built in Metzias B'Tachlis, so the whole category of being doesn't exist L'Gabi Asmos. The whole system of being doesn't exist L'Gabi him. So it's not shaykh to say Seviv Kalam L'Gabi Asmos. Be'em Shmuz is Rechol Ma'alam Alikam L'Yisif V'Chin Seviv Kalam. Ge'eni Begeder Alman Klal. V'hanik when Shkaz K'Knis G'Shmei Levade. Pirish afilu mashu b'chinas nizgav, and even when you speak about this dargan elokus, that is shalei berech merayim v'nizgav and meilam as hanesei v'kalam and shu nizgav v'kodesh umuvdol v'kalam kim hurak b'chinas shmei levad rak shonik shmei agol. It's b'chinas shmei. Shmei means it's nirgash in mitzias that there's a darga which is ein sof betachlis, but it's an ein sof which is nirgash in mitzias. So the nivra within the same category of the mitzias and of the mitzias of seder shalshalis, there's an which is also a present being, which is ein sof. So the yachas of the to the nivra is that he's ein sof, that he's seva kalam. And since there's saf kol saf a relation between the and the nivra, so it's kolach shiv legabe etzim. It's ka'ayin mamish legabe etzim. That's the pshat you say yesh ma'ayin. Even though because the makar mahava, the what causes this havasan nivra is the cause of mitzvah nivra. And the eir is merema v'nizka from the mitzvah yesh. Shalei be'erech higher than the mitzvah yesh. That's the yesh ma'ayin. The fact that there's some relation between the eir and the yesh. So the gabi etzem, it's ka'ayin mamish. Punkt even the mitzvah nivra is ka'ayin mamish. The whole category of being is ka'ayin mamish. Feel mashu nizka v'hanu seiv kalamet. Shu nizka v'kodesh umuvdol. V'kom gav b'chinas shmei levade. Rak shonik shmei agol. B'chinas seiv v'hu shu b'chinas makaf lo eilumis. ואם יש בזה גם כמקף קודי ומקף רוחק, כמי הלבוש עושים לדס הגוף ממש, מבחינת בייס שמקף מרוחק ואיני בדס הגוף. It's different dargis in the way the earth is מקף לאלומס. משהו כמו אחר. אם כל זה באיזה בחינת ליז כל אברהם הוסף עצמוסי, שאיני בגדר אלמן כלל. אפילו לי יש בחינת סבלם באיזה איפן מדרגה שיחולו. Yeah, so that's וזהו שכוסף עתו הוא הווי לבדך. That means that the Gabi Etzem, there's no Metzias. You mentioned before, so what's the Pshat in Savakash Baruch Hu? That's not a Makkah for Metzias. That's him. We're speaking about Mitzad there's a Shavas of an Indian of a Metzias of Elamis. There's a Metzias Yesh. Mitzad Asm is the Kavanah's Dere B'Tachtenim. We're saying this Havas, the way it is Mitzad so there's this Havas of a Metzias. And that Metzias is Shalei Be'erech the Makkah Taken. But since the is an Ein Sof, is a Metzias which is Ein Sof, so there, Shach to say that the eir is shalei be'erech higher than the nivra, shalei be'erech higher than the yesh. But there is some link between the eir between the makar mahava and the yesh. What's the link? That the makar mahava is mereim v'niskav imen. The fact that it's shaykh to say that the makar mahava is mereim v'niskav from the mitzvah elamis, that itself means that he's begeder elamis. That they're in the same category of being. Masheken atzmos is shalei begeder elamis, shalei begeder alman klal. So there's only him. Either the Gabi hin, there's no Metzias lachatchila. What's the Metzias? That he should be become Makim. But there's no Metzias, there's no gather of Metzias. Oh, so he says like this. He says like this. V'im nemar shenimshach li yitzb'chin hasev v'l'almen af al pi she'eni yispaylas chas v'shalom im kol ze yiridihi v'im kein eichu levadecha. This the real touch is this lashon. He says before that he says there's a shinivi. How can they say leishanisi? He says even though this havas is b'derech hamele, but he stays b'atzmosei, still it's a shini. So it says like this. Here the lashon he says over here is im neimash nimshach li tzchine seva la'almin afa pish eni yispaylas chas v'shalom im kol ze yiridi. Saying saf kol saf. Who's saying that nimshach li tzchine seva la'almin? He's saying that in the Ramak. According to the Ramak, the Nimshach Liyasei V'la'amin, even though it's not a spilus, because he's not Samson L'fiyarech Elamis. He's Nishar Kameshu Batzmos, and he's Mereim and V'niska from Elamis. And since the Atzva is not Mukhrich in Gdarim, so if he wants to should be Avot, V'zayin Avot, even without him lowering himself down to relate to Elamis. He says, so when he means Im Neimer, he means what according to the Ramak. And Avdem Zakt, Avvish Eni Yispaylas Chazasham Im Kosei Yiridihi. But the question is, according to the Ramak, there's no hamshach ali is b'chinas sevel alman. According to the Ramak, it's this havas is derech hamele. Like I said before, there's no slapshus. So what does he mean that according to the Ramak, nimshach ali is b'chinas sevel alman? The Ramak is also asking that the atzmas ain't begeder alman klal. The Ramak says that the atzmas ain't begeder alman klal. And the Eifen Eishavas was not that that the Ein Sof is Nizgal in Mitzias, and from the Ein Sof, the way it's Nizgal in Mitzias, there's this Havas of Derech Ein Arech. Atzmus, which is l'mayla megeder alman klal, all the there should be a velt. So he was never nimshach lis in a darg of a yachas of seviv la'alman. In Pashas, he says this whole erich is just to explain why, according to Chassidus, you could say yesh ma'ayin. Because even though the makar mahav is be'en erich to the nivra, even though the er is shalei be'erich mamish, but sav kosav you could call say seviv. The yachas of the er to the nivra is a yachas of seviv, that is makif. And seviv, and that's be'en erich, and mashik and the gabi atzmus, you can't say the homosik of seviv either, because ain't a begeder alman klal. So maybe the er is b'chinas ayin legabi atzmus. So that's you can say the lashon yesh ma'ayin. So then you should say according to the Ramak, according to the Ramak, this is b'chinas ha'atzmus. How could you say ayin? Which he says the taka later. But here he adds something else. He says, "Ve'im neimash nimshach li is b'chinas sevel ha'amen." That atzmus is nimshach neifin of sevel ha'amen. So obviously, who says such a thing? You understand what I'm saying? So the real touches that there comes out. He doesn't ask the question mamish on this line, but that's what comes out. What he means is, he says before that this havas with the ways inside the atzmus is derech hamela without any tnu of yirida.
He says that Ramak he says that those words as derech hamela.
Yeah, he says before. He says before. Hagam, yeah, what he says. His Hagam shezem shavas ilam derech hamela levi b'chinas slapshus. He says before b'chinas siba. He says it again earlier. Hagam shezem shavas ilam derech hamela levi b'chinas slapshus. But real touches it there. He said like this: because Atzmus is shlilas kol ateirim and there's no gdarim, so he doesn't have to lower himself down. He doesn't have to come into the category of being in order for him to be a siba for Mitzias Hayesh. He doesn't have to be a say. He doesn't have to. Any begeder alman klal. The way he is any begeder alman is all we're saying is altan evelt. Shtak and kashas. But the question is, but from the point of view of Elamis, from the point of view of Elamis, from the point of view of Geder, of Tayar, of Mitzias, in their regesh, the nekuda that Atzmus is in the begeder alman klal is not nirgash in the mitzvah. That's the inyan which is not meir in the mitzvah sayesh. The Elamis are not a keli to be married. In Elamis is not meir from their point of view. In the ingredients of the mitzvah hanivra is not nirgash that the beir is den ganzen mushtetz from this inyan. It's in the begeder alman klal. Because this havas is because Atzmus shlilas kol ateirim. So from the shlilas kol ateirim point of view, is all they were saying there should be a velt, the gevarna velt. But in the mitzias elamis, in seichel nivra, let's say, in seichel nivra, seichel is not shaykh to their gain that the Eibishter is legamri mufshis from the whole gather of elamis. Because in his mitzias, he only has his mitzias. The ultimate built mitzias is not meir the mitzias hayesh. So that what he has, he exists. And in his existence, there's no tnua, which brings out that there's a darga which his whole mitzvah doesn't begin to exist. So what's able to be nirgash in the yesh? That his makkah is not bekiruf to him. His makkah is be'en arich to him. But the fact that Atzmus is in a begeder alman klal, that's not shaykh to be made in the mitzvah. So kumte is that the etzem cannot be so the Shalem mitzad ha'is havos, the etzem is meir begoli. Mash'egen in his hav, in the mitzias ha'is havos, in the mitzias ha'elamis, the etzem can't be meir begoli in their mitzias. So through his havos, there was a shinui. That the etzem is na'ifin of helen, can be. In the mitzias ha'elamis, the mitzias ha'asmos cannot be meir begoli in their mitzias. That's the irida.
What does it have to do with Seviv?
It means im neimash nimshach lis b'chinas alman that legabi the mitzias ha'elamis. Legabi the mitzias ha'elamis, there is no tnua that is in the begeder alman klal. The maximum that's nirgash in elamis is that it's shalei be'erech higher, but not that legabi him, the whole geder elamis doesn't exist. It means that the emes, the way it is inside the atzmos, cannot be made in mitzias elamis. The ultimate that they're able to get to is that the Eibishter save of La'alman. So kumte is that through this havus, there's a sefer Echim, there's a
Chassidus is on that side.
no, it's just a little bit. Exactly the way he says it there. Yeah, I'm saying just ein nusach in the minion. Yeah, the lashon the way he says even though it's not a spell chas v'shalom imkol zeh means we're not saying. Yeah. The pile in the Metzias Ha'elam is the emes k'meishu mitzad ha'atzmus cannot be meir in their Metzias. So through the Ishavos, through the Ishavos, lifnei Ishavos, the etzem must be there's no tnu of the etzem being in a way of Helen, or the etzem must be in a mode of Helen. Mashiach wants to do this Ishavos Ha'elam is in Elma, since they're Metzias, they cannot be kalim to the built Metzias. So the atzmos, the way he is in the Metzias Ha'elam is not betachlis agili. So that's a yerida legabi the etzem is shalei before this house. Shalei mitzad this house. That's the way he says it there. So he attaches this line. They don't have to. The
Earth starts really from.
No, it's in the middle. He says, as I'm saying, exactly the Shem is as a third word. Yeah, but the lashon over here is, so first of all he says him because yiridihi means that Chachafegan also says, not Tom, that the yeah this is I'm saying this is a darkest Indian abyssal this prat. Yeah, in other words, according to the Ramak. According to the Ramak, when that this happens in Sachil's called Torah, what type of shina is shaykh? But the shina is the fact that there's a mode of being, there's a mode of mitzias which is not a keli to this amitis amtzias. So lifnei is havos. We're not saying there's a change that he has to lower himself down. We're not saying that the Atzmas has to lower himself down in order to create a world. He has to change. He has to go into a different mode. That we're not saying, because since he's not muchrich in anything, k'maishu she'eni begeder alman klal can zayin a welt. But the shaila is do the Metzias Ha'elam contain this truth? According to the Ramak, the Metzias Ha'elam Metzias doesn't contain this emes from the point of view of the Metzias. Metzias is not a keli to this emes. There's no ingredient in the Metzias that connects it to this truth. So the Metzias is not a keli to this truth. If the Metzias is not a keli to this truth, that means that the Keach Ha'etzem, the way it is in this Metzias, is an Eifin of Helen, not an Eifin of Gilui. Why is he an Eifin of Helen? Because the Metzias is not a keli to the Bilti Metzias. From the Bilti Metzias' point of view, there's no Akbalis. There's no Klal and Klal. But from the Metzias' point of view, they're not a keli to the Bilti Metzias. So that's the emes is, so there's two modes in the emes of Atzma, so to speak. There's the way he is mitzad Atzma, and there's the way he is mitzad Metzias Ha'elamis. And mitzad Metzias Ha'elamis are not kelim that it should be Meir Begili. So that's already a yerida legabi the Indian the way it is be'emes. There brings in Sichos many times that the Alter Rebbe says, I mentioned that it's got to be mitzvahs. When a yid does a mitzvah, since it's ratzna atzmos, so his mamshech, he makes a dirba tachtein. But why is it a get to have, and the Rebbe says that since to be mekayim a mitzvah, your mamshech atzmos and veld, it's smooth zayin that sof kol sof, it's gonna, when a person does a mitzvah, it's gonna affect him, also in a seichel amidis, that he's gonna become more edel, that he's gonna become a keli telikos, sof kol sof. Because if the mitzvah would be done in a way that it wouldn't have the potential, and it wouldn't have this, it wouldn't force that the person should become edel and become a keli telikus, that would be a raya that it's not atzmas, because that means that the keich eliki which is nimshach through this mitzvah has to be behelim, can't come begali. It's here from its point of view. But from the point of view of the nivra, which is mekayim the mitzvah, from the point of view of the yad, which is maniach tefillin, it's not possible for the yad to be a keli to the. If it's not possible, that means that the keich ha'etzem, which is nimshach in the yad, has to be in a certain in a ifin of helen. He can't be meir b'chol ha'tekev shalei, from the point of view of the mitzvahs. So that would be a raya that it's not etzem, because atzmos is edi mugdar klal. So if you're being mamshach atzmos, there cannot be a limit that it has to be here only from his point of view and not from the nivra's point of view. As is ishlas kol terim, so you could be, so the mitzvah ishlas kol terim is that even geder could be a keli for him.
You could still ask, well,
No, I'm saying is according to the Ramak, the Atzmus shall not mitzad before this havos. So the Atzmus statement the ganze taketh. There's only him, and without any hagbolas, without any limitations. Mash'enkin mitzad this havos, since there was havos of a mitzias, which from the point of view of the mitzias is not a keli to the etzem. So the keach ha'atzmus, the way it is in the mitzias hanivra, cannot be in the ganze taketh mitzad the point of view of the nivra. That's a yirida. It's not the etzem kumeshi.
That's how he touches even after
I think so. I think as that word.
Saying Spavus means it's not.
Spavus means that there's a shini in him.
Because
He lowers himself. So we're not saying there's a shini in him. We're saying the fact that this truth is not evident also legabi the nivra. That's not the ultimate. It's not the ultimate. It's not the ultimate shlilas sagdar. That's not things that are. I'm just saying. Doesn't state. I'm just. I'm saying it that in case you look over there. See, I can miss myself that I think I know to see all. Maybe also. I'm just trying. As I could read it, you'll think maybe it's a little bit Chinese. So I'm saying it's still Chinese, but. Yeah, no one's saying we made this versteht. We're just all the scene. Yeah, but that's rein them. It's not the double pashat. Yeah, he says vim kein echul vadecha. Vim kein echul vadecha. So again, this the code echul vadecha is the metzias ha'elamis is not him. According to the Ramak, I'm saying this in the code is according to the Ramak, there's no mitzi that the mitzi is not a keli to the built mitzias. So echul vadecha lepoil is mishavik varna mitzias. And now it's not only him. It's not only him. From his point of view, the whole mitzias of the nivra is that kach alaberseni. But from the point of view of the nivra, there's a gather of gvul, which is not a keli to the bli gvul. And the Bereshis bara lekim, so gavarna mitzias from Shemayim va'aretz, and Shemayim va'aretz from the say the character of Shemayim is that he's not a keli tatzmas. So echul vadecha, ubeemes ato hul vadecha mamish. So don't know the Rebbe Shtar Alin. B'chinas havdalah legamri, gam ata. There's atzmas the way he's moved the legamri for the whole gather is habas. There was never a shinu. I feel like achas shasisa Shemayim. Mamish k'meshik kedem shasisa. Why I said do a mitzias von a Welt? The fact that there's a mitzias which does not reflect him, that's all mitzad eir. From the point of view of atzmos, the mitzias is also a kelitim. Okay, there's a pratim here, but you look in the Sefer Erchim for further reading. But there's pratim here. Ken echol levadecha, be'emes atu levadecha mamish. B'chinas havdalah legamri, gam ata. Fil achar shasisa Shemayim. Mamish k'mekedem shasisa. In other words, the nekuda is that the same truth, the way it is inside the etzem mamish, the same truth is reflected in the mitzias. Means gam ata. It's not only the gabeya etzem. There's no shini. Gam ata in the mitzias ha'elam is it's nirgash that the fact that there's a mitzias that's only mitzat er and mitzat tzimtzum. But the ultimate truth of this reality is that atu Hashem levadecha. That there's only him. I mean, the fact that there is a yachas to mitzias, so rak b'chinas shmei levad. And this, in other words, that's b'chinas shmei. That's in the Eider's nirgash. In the Eider's nirgash, that the fact that there's an isnas manga from mitzias, that's mitzat gilui. But the truth is, means the Eider is a keli for this word. It's not stamazeh. This word, the Eider says this word. That's what's lacking then according to the Ramak. This word that the whole b'chinas seva kalam, rak b'chinas shmei levad, aval atam mamish levadecha. That's not only the truth from his point of view. That's the truth. That's the truth. The Eider reflects that. The Eider reflects that be'etzem it's nothing legabe the etzem. It's a keli to this bittul. This bittul that he says here, that the Eider is kolam mamish legabe etzem, that the Eider is ayin mamish. The Eider tak is ayin. It's not only that from the point of view of atzmos, the Eider is bittul. The Eider's inyan is to express this bittul. So this truth that there's nothing else besides for atzmos, that any begad alman klal, and b'meila the Eider is bittul, that any p'chin in olukus, in p'chin in gili, which gives an esinas makam to elumis, is p'chinas ayin mamish legabe atzmos. That is p'chinas, that the Eider says that it's p'chinas ayin mamish. And the eir is a keli to this ultimate bittul. Then it brings the mashal. Why is it that it says in Pirkei Avos that asar maris nivra elam, v'li b'maimer echad yachal libaris. So the Hashem it doesn't not only yachal maimer echad libaris that if he wanted he could have. There's this havos the way it is mitzad maimer echad. Means mitzad the seder as havos was first was havos maimer echad. Reishis bar lekim was the maimer echad, which was the whole havos of mitzias was this havos from this maimer echad, and then there was nesparet and asar mamaris. This is this havas the way it is inside Maimer Echad is a much higher havas, a higher efinei havas. Sarah Maris is the reason why the Mitzias Ilmus is a Mitzias Yesh and there's a Tzir and Pratim. Why is it that why do the Ilmus begin mitzad Maimer Echad? So since the Kavanah is the Kavanah should be a Yesh, but Sav Kosav this Yesh should be a Keli to the ultimate bittul. If this havas would have been to begin with Asana Maris, the Nivra wouldn't begin in a stage of Maimer Echad, then the Nivra wouldn't contain within itself the ingredient of bittul. Then it would be a yesh, and there never wouldn't be a keli to the bittul mitzvahs. See, lechatchila the eshavas is the amitis ha'elamis are the way they are b'maimer echad, and therefore through aveda that you're later was nesparet to asarim amaris. But the truth is that the mitzvahs ha'elamis begin from maimer echad. But the shabashashim megala the bittul the way it is inside the maimer echad, the elamis are keli to this bittul. So this truth that legabe etzem there's no the whole mitzvahs ilmus is kolach shiv, and that the fact that the eir legabe the eir there is a yachas to ilmus because eir is b'chinas gilui, so legabe eir is b'chinas seviv la'am. The fact that there's a yachas of seviv from the eir to the ilmus, so that is it's b'chinas ayin ve'efes legabe etzem. That's the eir is a keli. The eir expresses that it's ayin ve'efes legabe etzem. So atu avay levadecha, the same truth that there's only him before this havas. This havas is the mitzvahs illness exactly the same truth because they're a keli and they reflect that ultimate truth that there's only him. You get the close Indian. I ain't saying that. Das ist ein bisschen Sachen, was man darf sich hereintrachten. You said this. Aber at the mamish levate kedem b'riyas ha'elamis. Kedem b'riyas ha'elam. Sheini begeder almen klal. Afilu liyas nikar seviv. It says v'zeh I efshel hamas lepirish Ramak. According to Ramak, the ain't of a seviv kol almen hainu atzos mamish. I mean, v'eich nikra zeh yesh ma'ayin. This havos is from atzmos. And there's the. And this is already the way Taj is a little bit of a deicha. And the b'yachas ha'elam is there's the atzmos is seviv klal. So the fact that the etzem is ene begeder alman klal, that's not nirgish neilamis. So the mitzias ha'elam is not doesn't reflect the ultimate emes. But the way it says it here is at the end we're saying hainu atzmos namish ve'eich nikar ze yesh ma'ayin. Means where is the vu leichda that the whole mitzias ilmus is ka'ayin mamish. In his havos, we don't have this Indian that this havos is yeshmayin. What's nirgish in welt is that the Eivishot shafet the welt. The fact that the gabi atzmos ain't begeder almen klal, that's not nirgish in welt. So eich nirgish yeshmayin. V'im nemer kavana ma'ayin she'enim b'chinas yesh, that atzmos is not b'chinas yesh. Atzmos has no tzir. Pshita she'enim b'chinas yesh chas v'shalom. He's not a specific form. He's not a specific being. He has a svar. Maybe yesh ma'ayin means that this havas is b'keich atzmos. We're calling atzmos ayin, not yesh, because yesh means a specific being. Atzmos is not a specific being. So he's saying that he has no form. Ayin. There's no mitzias there. There's only him. So yesh ma'ayin is not saying because it's koloch shiv v'gabe de'etzem, because it's bottle. There's no mitzias there. There's only him. That's what we mean by ayin. So them sagt first of all pshita she'enim b'chinas yesh chas v'shalom. But you can't say ayin because the word is not the shame for atzmos is not that there is no tzir. The shame is that there's only him.
Isn't
not ayin.
Isn't Hashem a Matthias? Like the problem with being a Matthias that you're Matthias that's not
Tzir.
Hashem Matthias.
Tzir. What it means it should be shayla. What it means inim b'chinas yesh is not a tzir. He's al b'emes hu nimtza amiti. He's the true being. V'nikra yesh amiti. V'ein shayach lemar azeh chas v'shalom shem ayin. So what's it says the Maskana? This is the way the Alter Rebbe says. Achinu du be'emes behechlich leimar sheyesh b'china. These pratim when you get to the Shakvetari, so the Ramak and the Kabbalim, that's I'm saying it's very, in a way, doesn't nicht gepasht in Yanim. But when you get to the Hemshech, when you get to Zes Chukas, we'll be more, we'll try to explain it a little bit more bar chava those in Yanim. Achinu azay. The be'emes behechlich leimar sheyesh b'china she'enim b'chinas atzmus. There is a b'china which is not atzmus. It means not shlilas kol ha'teirem. Not shlilas is not the right word. Not a b'china of gilui, a b'china of a metzias, a certain mode of being, so to speak, a certain gilui, a certain tnua. Ki'im nimtza min atzmus, a tnua which is not atzmus but nimtza min atzmus. And b'china zu nikra gam ken ein sof, which mi b'china zu which is like a makar leilamis, a makar from metzias. Punkt like the Kabbalah Marishenim say that Bchina Nimtza Ben Atzmus is the Masivu Makar for the Nivraim, for the Metzias and Nivraim. Va'atzmus Sibas Kol HaSibas. Avaleshu Bchinas Makar Chas V'Shalom. Canal. Means Atzmus, you say Nisav Baruch Hu is the B'Tachtenim, but that is not a Makar for Metzias. Makar for Metzias is Eir. Same with the Kabbalah Marishenim learn that there is Lapeldur is Nisav the Metzias of Elamis. There's a Metzias outside of Elikus. That Metzias, that there's a Metzias which is not Behesem Telukus. That Metzias is Nishavim Mitzad Ha'er. Of course, according to Alter Rebbe, that's also negir for the Kavanah of Direi B'Tachtenim. That B'chitzenius, Begali is a Metzias, and that Metzias is a Keli, is a Keli Tatzos. That we'll see this part in Behemsh. So there's B'china Zu Hu Amakar Leilamis. Hu B'china Seiv V'Makef Leilamis. And this b'china is b'chinas ayin ve'eves the kolom mamish choshev legabe atzmos. Like I said before, it's not only that legabe that atzmos says that it's kol choshev. This b'china, it's margish that it's ayin ve'eves kol choshev legabe atzmos. It's like it's bottle. Its Indian is to be a bottle to atzmos. This b'china, and sof kosof since the makar hametzias. This is an important point to remember. Since the makar hametzias, according to Alter Rebbe, if it's keser in keser leichnish, according to Kabbalah Marishenim, in keser leichnish as kayin ve'eves legabe atzmos. According to the Alter Rebbe, there's the Eir is the Makar HaMetzias. But what's for Azach is Eir? Eir is that it's bottled betachas to the Mar, and it's made in Eir that it's kolach shav legabe etzem, that it's no Metzias legabe etzem. So the same way it's made in Eir, and Eir is Saf Kosaf the Makar of the Yesh. So the Saf Kosaf, the truth of the Yesh is to be as a Meir, but that is a Keli to this emes that everything is kain vefes legabe etzem. So Mitech Advarim comes out that at the end of the day the truth is that the Metzias HaNivra is a Keli to the ultimate truth. With these words that he's saying here. See, he says, B'china Zu, which is Eir Nisav, is B'chinas Matzev Makaf Ela Elamis. And this B'china is Ayin Ve'eves Kolom Mamish Choshev Legabe Atzmos. Means it's bottle Legabe Atzmos. Not only that Atzmos says that it's bottle. The Eir is Taka Keli to this bittul. Means the Eir reflects the truth that Legabe Atzm is Kayin Ve'eves Mamish. And if the Eir reflects it as a Keli for it, so Savkosov, the Nivra is a Keli for this ultimate bittul Legabe Atzmos. Aval ein ze b'chinas HaKeser b'chinas HaRatzon. Then Yishayach Lemer Al Hashem in Sof Kanal. V'gam Yimuch Lemer Lefi Ze Ratzon Kodem Kanal. V'zeh Yishal Lemer Kanal. Elazeo b'chinas HaEir v'Agili Menas. The b'china of Eir v'Gili. Which we'll see later. So on one hand, the Eir v'Gili says, here he's touching the word that the Eir v'Gili, which you can't say that Legabe Keser, that the Eir v'Gili is b'chinas HaEir levad v'le'etzim klal. On one hand, so there's a musig of a makir and a hamshach min a makir, which is an hamshach b'derech Eir, or Eir min a makir. Which the hagdar of Eir is that it's a gili min a makir. We'll see later, he's going to touch it with pratis. What's the nekudis, what's the negel linyaninu? Once the Alter Rebbe was mechadish, that there's a metzias called Eir, means that there's a metzias which is nimshach min atzmos, that his relation to the makir is that he's the gili of the makir. So then we have two nekudis in this Eir. On one hand, this Eir, which is a gilui, it's nirgash in the Eir that it's a Ar Levad. The Eir, since we'll see later the beer, but since the Eir in Yana is gilui Amar, so it reflects the fact that legabi the Mar is kain vefes mamish, that it's a Ar Levad. Kain vefes mamish legabi atzmos. Umikom kim b'chinas ein sof. But the fact that it's ein sof, avolemi said atzmi kim liyasem ein Amar, because the whole Indian of Eir is gilui Amar. Both of these nekudis are needed to explain. On one hand, we want to say that the Eir is the Makkah for the Metzias. Eir is Ein Sof. Why is Ein Sof? Because it's Mein Amor. But on one hand, through Eir is also Nizgada, the ultimate truth that the whole Metzias is Kolach Shiv. because is horrible bad. Yeah, but these nukudas are totally, we'll see later the hemshich. ונמצא שאין הסהבוס מן העצמוס ממש, כי מן העיר, שהוא גם כן אינסוף, מתי שהוא מעין אמר. ובעיר יש גם כמדרגה שהוא מבחינת קדמן, או שלא מבחינת עיר כמישהו מבחינת מציאסר, כי כמישהו מבחינת הלם העצמוס ממש. We'll see later. זה דרגן עיר, which is קדמן, כקדמוס העצמוס. We'll see later. Yeah, so some pratim are going to become more clear. I'm going to learn the Maimers Eschukas and Kiyimcha. But even if since you can clarify in this Maimer and some pratim, but the Hamshech will be more, will clarify some details. We're going to go back to this Reish Chavav, but I'm just saying, there's only Shvalir and Pian al Yuvash Kazav Yelech Havai Say Yam Beruach Kodem. Vayubaku Chulu. Yeah, the Yam v'Yabashu Helen v'Gilui. Yeah, the Yam, everything which is in the Yam, Kol ma sheyesh be'Yabasha yesh be'Yam, but in Yana, the way they are in the Yam are covered. Mashiach be'Yabasha, so the things that exist, the Nivran that exist, they are apparent. U'misef kol dargan as Reish kol dargan. The fact that there was that Kriyas Yamsuf, there was in of Karei, there was the in of Karei Yam li'Yabasha. The fact that the Indian of Yam v'Yabasha, you have this in all dargas. You do at the Yam b'chinas Malchus b'Atzilis, K'meishi b'Atzilis, which is Maidem Eres Atzilis b'Seicha. And the Mashiach the Elam is already the Malchus, they becomes a market to Bria. So that's the Yanam Arbegili. Well, the Mailam is a B'chinal Yenish B'Kaiser, B'chinas Atik, and there Lukus is higher than Mitzias, B'chinas Nelam. Well, the Mailam is a B'chinas Simsim Marishin, is Almos Erchul. So then in Mireish Kadargan, Asif Kadargan, there's the Darga where Lukus is Begili, where the Mitzias is Begoli. There's the Darga where Lukus is in a Eifim which is higher than Gili. Like the Yam, which the Ram Shabiyam are Mechus, they're beyond Gili. Higher than being able to be in his Gal. She is gal those dargas in the lukus, that pchina, which mitzad its nature, mitzad its gather, are beyond gilui, the uf of Krishna is given that they were in his gal. Kume batzilusu, she's gal pchina atzilis v'biyad, even though atzilis mitzad its nature is beyond his galus and biyad, the in of Krishna is given that atzilis is gal and biyad. Kedu the kriyas yamsu is chabras atzilis v'biyad. L'malam atzilis and that darga what was kriyas yamsu, she's gal pchina elamatzu samatzu. Sheir Sharishin was in of Kriyas Yamsuf, she gili pchinas helam atzmi dein sof. What behind no gili pchinas etzema er kemeshu belamasus. This dargan er, the er, the way it is a pchin of kadman, beyond the mitzias of er. The mitzias of er, that's al der yabash, that's the er which is together gili. The sheir shemakara er is the etzema er which is kadman, which is a pchinas of helama, which is the way the er is in etzema which is kemeshu helama atzmus. And that was nisgali in Kriyas Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf echanol matan teira. The idea Teira Nimshach Gili Pchinas Atzmus Ein Sof. So which Gili Atzmus Ein Sof? The Etzem Ha'ir. The ultimate truth of the Ha'ir is, we're going to explain later, is to reflect the truth of Atzmus. The mitzvah of Ha'ir Mein Amar, that it's one with Atzmus. And the Kavana is, the fact that the Ha'ir is not just this technical word, and therefore there's no Shaila of Shinei. Why is there no Shaila of Shinei? Because Saf Kol Saf since the Ha'ir reflects the ultimate truth of Atzmus, so Saf Kol Saf through Aveda or Gnim Megali and Elamis, and that the Elmas will reflect this ultimate truth of that Sameir. That's through the Indian of Matan Torah. So be mamshach the amitis ha'er in Gilui. That the Nivra should be a Keli, should reflect the ultimate emes of Atzmos. Okay, that's what Matan Torah. They are telling Mishach Gilui B'chinas Atzmos in Sof. V'Gilui azeh ha'i b'Kriyas Yamsuf. Yeah. V'Zachanat Matan Torah. V'Zav Eilach Vayaseh Yom Ruach Kodim. What's this Ruach Kodim? V'Vos at the Megali given. The B'chin of Yam, with what was Vayelach Vayaseh Yom? With what power? This pchin of etzem er, that's pchinas kadmeni shalaylam, and pchinas helam atzmi dein sof. She's a mitzvah gilui de Kriyas Yamsuf. The yisod of the gilui de Kriyas Yamsuf was the yisod of Matan Torah is that there should be the isgalus of pchinas kadmeni shalaylam, helam atzmi dein sof. The mitzvah atzmus. If he's a movement in ruach kodem lahei ezek me'achon etivis. That's all behemshach to the mitzvah inyan of what Kriyas Yamsuf is. Zau a mitzvah gilui de Kriyas Yamsuf. She's isgalus pchinas dein sof kadmeni shalaylam, the ultimate kadmen, the kadmen amiti. Because Sof Kol Sof, behind the Pchinas Etzem Ha'ir, K'meishu B'helam Atzmos Mamish. The way it is Kadmen Mamish, we're going to explain later. U'inyan Ruach Kodim. Min the Ruach, it's Ruach Elokim Rechav Zapnei Amayim, the Ruach Hashem Mashiach. That's the Ruach Kodim, the Kadmen Shalaylam. V'zeu Achon Al Matan Torah. Sh'adei Torah Nimshach Gili Pchino Madrega Zu. Epis is Abyssal Asis. No, I'm saying. Just let him get it. Good. We'll start, but the next time we'll go through each prat. These are the Kenyanos, the Spukas and the Ken. Okay. Deel met einde? Zo'n van banaan.
Make a second idea.
I think better we'll learn the Hamshech Advarim and then we can go back to some pratim. Because before we have such shtickle what's going on with air, it's hard to. It's hard to erase reden the Indian if you don't have yet cleared a little bit the musagim of air. A lot of the Havana Sanyanim is totally if you understand what's the idea of air a little bit. So when we get after a little bit in Kiyim,